Greetings, folks. It's Thursday, and it's interesting about the latest loss in the music world, Steve Albini. Cheers, people. It's interesting because I've had no reason to be thinking about Steve and Albini, but a few days ago, up until yesterday, for some reason, it wasn't because of some record or something. The name Steve Albini kept popping up in my mind. I don't know why. Then yesterday, before I heard the news about him, I had that feeling, even though it's really nothing esoteric, because statistically, at this time, we can expect people to be dying, on a regular basis, well known and otherwise. So that's not unusual, but it did. When I saw the news that Steve Albini had a heart attack, it caught my attention. It's like, wow. Got my grapefruit shirt on today. So Steve Albini, rest in peace. I'm a child of the 50s and 60s, the 60s really. So unlike some of the people who have been posting in the groups, and someone even messaged me because I posted, and poured their heart out to me about how they're feeling about Steve Albini. I'm a music fan, so I was aware in the 90s of what was going on. So I know about Steve Albini, and I have some records, and I used to have more Big Black because you go through phases, and when indie rock and alternative got coined, I was already into that, looking for other stuff. So when you'd hear about certain artists and certain things, and it's like you want to check them out, and Big Black was one of them. I bought the album Songs About Fucking when it came out. Kept it for a long time. Never really landed with me very strongly, so I sold it. I even bought Big Black, Headache. And I remember the limited edition. Have you seen the limited edition version of Big Black? With the person with their head all smashed open? Comes in a black bag. That was very disturbing when that came out. I actually had Rape Man for a second because I was able to get it for $2. I didn't keep it. So here's what I have to say about Big Black. I still have this single, which was given to me by my Japanese friends. It came with a magazine that I don't have, Chemical Imbalance, an issue of that magazine. But this is the single that came with it. Yola Tango doing Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, and then Big Black. And on the other side we have Kill Slug and Moving Targets. So I have this music in my background, and it's in my DNA too. Noisy, agitated, real raw. That's in my, I recognize that and have been through my period where that music was really speaking to me, or I was really paying attention to it. Excuse me. But for example, another thing that I have by Steve Albini, I got this for I think $5. Shellac, 1,000 hertz. Notice the damage. That's why I got it for $5. When the antiquarium was still open, they had come across someone brought in a damaged shipment of these to them, and I think they sold them to them super cheap or for nothing. So I have this, but check this out. And that's okay, because this is not an album that I would be listening to very much. I've listened to it. I listened to it again yesterday all the way through. It comes with a CD, so I have all the music. This is harsh, raw, and I'm not drawn to it. I have that, so I've recognized what Steve Albini does. Steve Albini, what he did, to me, that's noticeable. Two things is that he was a pencil neck geek that people hated when he first came on the scene, and he didn't let that deter him. He invited himself and ended up showing everyone just how vital his contribution was. People who know better than I do, who were there, can tell you that Steve Albini, people thought he was an ass. But his self-confidence, or whatever you want to call it, won out because he just continued to be himself. And the next thing you know, everybody wants to work with him because of his ear. That's what I recognize about his engineering and producing. He was excellent at capturing the performance and the sound coming out of the instruments, which I think has a lot to do with the way he hears things, because I relate to that. I want people to hear what I hear. And he was good at that, of, real, not plain. There was an art to his, I do give him a lot of credit, to miking things and listening to the EQ and keeping effects out of the picture as much as possible, so the music just comes through. A couple other things I have several things that he's worked on, but I pulled these to share. God is good. I also like how, for the most part, he would say, recorded by Steve Albini, not produced, and there he is with the guys. I've had some interaction with Emil Amos several years ago. We got to talking about records and stuff online. I've never met him in person, though. It's a good one. Albini also did this one by them, which I like even better. Pilgrimage. I've played this several times. This is good. And Emil's not on this album. Another one that I have that was recorded by Steve Albini, which really made a difference. I like Sun, Life Metal. I love that cover. But this is a real good example of what Steve Albini can do if you would let him record you. This is sweet. If you don't know the band too well, you might have the impression that all Sun records sound the same because they have this deep rumbling drone that they work from. They made a good choice by having Steve Albini do this album, where they incorporate things like strings and other instruments very subtly, but to great effect. Rest in peace, Steve Albini. This is hitting people. And it's also partially because he was obviously not expecting to die. Shellac has a new album coming out next week. A week from tomorrow is a new Shellac album he just finished. He wasn't thinking about dying. So that I think that makes it even tougher for people. He's only 61. And even though relatively that's young nowadays, especially when you see how old rockers are still kicking it in their 80s, and stuff. Rest in peace. I would have liked to have met him. I know I'd have gotten along with him just fine. I like an interview that I saw with him and Chris and Dave of Nirvana, explaining why he didn't take any points on Utero, producing in Utero, which I totally can congratulate and thank him for pointing it out, that producers who take points on people's records It's like that doesn't have to be. And I really like what Steve said. You're going to be paying me pennies on your every dollar you make for the rest of your life, and I just helped you for a few hours. It's untenable. That's what he said, and I liked the way he put it. Rest in peace. Some other music, and I have some music news if I remember. It's still early to share it, but I have some news about something coming out with me on it. Yesterday, spent some time. Well, oh man, I had such a good day yesterday. So let me just slow down. Bowie. Played this on the big stereo out there. That's what I wanted to share. These records are really well recorded. They really sing. This really sung. And I didn't like this too much when it first came out. I bought the single Thursday's Child, so I still have it. But it's grown. And this whole album has shown that this is pure Bowie. It was kind of like when it came out, it was kind of like, oh, there's Bowie again. So what? This is Bowie. This is good Bowie. So yesterday I was invited to lunch by some good friends, the McAvoys. Worked with Jen at Community Alliance. We're both retired. But she and her husband, they've been married for 25 years now. They used to come, they were punk rock kids, and they would come see me in RAF. We've become friends over the years. And their daughter, Lil, just turned 21, so she joined us. Had a wonderful lunch yesterday and just talked about a bunch of stuff, but I just feel real blessed. It was interesting because this woman that I know, who is a local artist named Celeste Butler, and she's quite the presence. Strong black woman, very African. And I've talked about her before because I've had to advocate for her where she was not being recognized by the local art community, saying her stuff was too folk. And I said, wait a minute. This woman's badass. It was funny because she came up in the conversation with the McAvoys at lunch. Later in the afternoon, I get a message from Celeste. Hey, can I swing something by? Sure, And then I said to her, your ears must have been burning. I was talking about you, she says. So when she got here, she said, no, I had no idea, but, you've been on my mind. Now, I want to tell you, I was just telling you folks that I'm single. Celeste is a woman who could steal me. I love her. She is a match for me. But I also, and she feels it too, besides being intellectually interested in each other, we are attracted to each other. I think I frustrate her because I am dedicatedly single. I'm aware of our attraction. When she came by yesterday, it was wonderful to hug her and hold her for a while, but I don't want to get involved. I don't. And we had a great conversation. She brought me food. I know what that means in my culture. Is it the same in all cultures? When a woman brings you food, you know what that means. Do you? I know what it means, and been through it many times as an adult. With I'll say it, with black women in particular. They bring in you food, they want to stay. I had a really nice visit with Celeste, and I love that we really do read each other pretty good because she could tell when it was time to go because my cup gets full. I do like living alone. I like people, but I get to a point where it's like, okay, that's enough of y'all. Get the hell out of here. A couple hours at most. It's like, okay, y'all got to go. I'm tired of you. Everyone. I haven't had a girlfriend, and I've never had a boyfriend. I do admit openly that I tried to find out in my 20s. My experience with gayness here in Omaha was pretty traumatic. But even when I've had girlfriends, sex partners even, because there's a couple where it's like, well, we really didn't care for each other, but we were hot. Even when the sex is involved, I don't want to hang out forever and ever for a day. So that was a good, I really appreciate my friends very much. I appreciate my friends and I appreciate my headspace. because I'm aware that loneliness is a mental state more than a physical state. People say they feel lonely, but I've talked about this before, but it's really fed by the mental. You've heard it said before, and someone just said it recently on Facebook in a conversation. You ever notice how you feel all alone even when you're around a whole lot of people? Yeah, there ain't nothing new. We're alone together. So me realizing that just puts me at ease. I'm not grasping, and I'm not in a desire. I'm not desirous, feeling empty. Some people do. I'm not putting it down. I'm just glad that's not me, because I recognize it's a mindset more than an actual physical state. And when you can change your mindset, it goes away. I love knowing that. I do. Okay. I'll look at the comments. I don't think there's much to say. People were just telling me, excuse me, Steve Albini's dead. Steve Albini's dead. I think that's sweet how people want to hear from me. They tell me when people die, it's important to them. And this is like, they want to tell Dereck. One more. This is damn good. Letitia Sadier. It's a slow burn. It's an adult, relaxed album. Nothing to prove here. You just put it on, and after a while, it just takes over the atmosphere. Still have no idea what this woman is singing about. All the words are in here. I don't even care. I just like what she does to the atmosphere when she sings and makes this music. I love it. Letitia Sadier. So I have some good news that people have been lamenting that they wish that more stuff of mine was on vinyl. Well, I have two things coming out this year on vinyl, just songs on compilations. The one I found out about on Friday when I was out in Benson is the Bemis Center for Art here in Omaha has a program called Low End, a series of performances that they do at the Bemis. And this started a few years ago, and I was the second artist that they booked for this series. Other folks who performed in the series include Jamie Branch. Her last album was recorded there at Low End. Moore Mother has been on Low End. Eviction and others. I was just thinking of the other band. I should have gone Gorilla Toss and many others. Anyway, Bemis is putting out a album of low end artists, not performances from the low end, but they've commissioned us. Yes, I did a licensed commission with Bemis for one song for this compilation that's coming out. It's a brand new track. You haven't heard it. I played it for the first time live at Oliver's with Aaron a few weeks ago. That was the first time anyone besides me has heard it. It's got a reggae feel. I really like the track. But that's was sent to the manufacturers, I heard, from the engineer. And he said they're expecting the records in September. I'll let you know because this is going to be exclusively available through the Bemis. It will not be on sale in stores. It will be a limited edition. But I'm excited. I have something new coming out on vinyl this year. I love records. I do. Okay, folks, I could talk more. I could talk all day. But I'll leave it there and share your thoughts with me. Well, let me just go ahead and see if there's something I need to respond to in the comments. Because mostly it was people saying rest in peace. Yeah, war is a racket and need young men to... I hate war. I hate war. Someone else who knows about Nahiti. Cool. Yes, someone was happy to see me mention Morse code. I love all kinds of music. Someone shared with me that the Polish jazzman Jan Wroblewski passed away. I don't have any Wroblewski. I like Polish jazz, and I have some. Rolf Bilberg, Namislowski, some other folks. Komita. Yeah. 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 Thank you, SSP. He says, thanks for coming on today, though you say you don't have a lot to say. You do, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, so Peter Michael Hamill is in between. I have most of their albums. It's some wonderful music. Hello, Texas. Texas says, I appreciate your free flow discussion and brutal honesty. So often, myself included, only discuss difficult topics in a safe manner. Your experience and expression is interesting and much appreciated. We all have different tastes and life experience. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us. Thank you. Because again, yeah. And then this person tells me, I'll give you a band to talk about. No, you don't give me nothing to talk about. Pardon my attitude, because I know you're being friendly. I heard about the Open. I hoover music. There's a lot. There's as much as I am aware of. There's that much more times three that I know nothing about. But apparently, compared to the average person, I investigate a lot of music. Thank you. Okay, let me get out of here. Let me know what's going on with you folks. Share your thoughts with me.